Sunday morning again, and my puppies are hungry. Jehovah has given us a spiritual meal. Let's dig in. Judgment against the man of lawlessness. And here he is. He's a composite man, I guess. Yeah. A lot of mustaches. Your relatives with waters of truth. I know my relatives find it refreshing when I tell them I know the truth and they don't. Yeah. Gift from Jehovah for young people. A gift from Jehovah being in air quotes. Let's read some experiences, brothers.
When the speaker announced we were to sit in a special section,
recalls one young girl,
I knew that something great was about to happen. When they announced the release of the book, I felt so happy I wanted to cry.
She's talking about the release of Questions Young People Ask, Answers That Work. And boy, howdy, do they work. Let me tell you that. And let's delve into some more experiences, brothers.
It was so well written,
says a youth named Leah.
And the pictures are realistic and really make you think.
That's a testimonial. This person was driven to think by a picture.
I was brought to tears, brothers. 5 of those young people were mine, ages 11 to 16. I could have afforded to contribute for only 2 books. I began calculating how much it must have cost, but then I realized that the guidance inside is priceless. It helps just one way when you get back on the road leading to life. It was well worth all that cost.
They have it, straight from the horse's mouth. It's worth every penny.
The last 2 chapters really encouraged me to start taking my life more seriously. I was once going to get baptized, but changed my mind. Now that I have received this wonderful publication, I realize that the world is passing away, and that I need to take action now.
Because times have changed, wrote one young girl. I had always thought older ones didn't know how we felt. You don't know how glad I am to see that I am wrong. I was dead wrong. Your attention towards us young ones makes me feel as though I count, wrote a group of youths from Sweden. A group of children sat down and wrote this letter together. We feel that you understand us, youths, and we feel so much closer to you. And our parents and the elders didn't write this letter, we did. One youth summed it up well when he said,
My brother and sister and I loved this book. We're going to sit down and write a letter about it together. We feel it is a gift straight from Jehovah, not men.
Was fascinated. This man was fascinated by the magnificent rack he laid his eyes on. Just kidding. This woman is wearing a turtleneck, which, as you know, it prevents the brothers at the hall from receiving bonus. It's our kryptonite. We can't get around. Oh my! While riding the New York subway last spring, a young woman was reading the book Revelation, its grand climax at hand. The man sitting next to her noticed the publication, and as she turned pages, he was fascinated by the striking illustrations. Oh, that book sure looks interesting, he said.
Yes, it is, the woman responded. It explains the Bible book of Revelation, chapter by chapter.
How can I get one of those? The man wanted to know.
From Jehovah's Witnesses, she replied.
But then she continued,
You know, this copy that I have is new, and it's only $3, so I could let you have it for $3.
He immediately took the money from his pocket and accepted the book. Just then, The train stopped, and he had to hurry off. He ran away after paying for the publication. The family next door had been indifferent to the request of the witness family to investigate the Bible and their invitations to go to the Kingdom Hall. One day, the witness wife was washing dishes. She heard an interesting conversation between her son and the little neighbor girl near the dividing fence. The little boy said, "What do you know? The worldly people say that man came out of a soup." The little girl answered back as she usually did, "Are you crazy?" The little boy replied, "No, I'm not crazy. The worldly people say that man came out of a soup. But Jehovah made man." The boy ridiculed the idea, thinking it would be like ordinary soup for eating, which he did not like, by the way. Then he went on to tell the little girl, "My daddy should give the creation book to your daddy so that he will see that God created man." When the sister's husband, who is an elder, came home, to complete the story there, came home from work, she related the conversation that she overheard. Although the incident between the children made them laugh, the brother thought that perhaps Jehovah wanted him to witness once again to this neighbor. So a few days later, he approached his neighbor and related the children's conversation. He said that on behalf of his son, he wanted to give him a copy of the creation book. The witness recommended that the neighbor read it without prejudice, as it would show the origin of life, which didn't come from a soup, which the little boy did not like. What? This is a cute story. Questions from readers. This should be intellectually stimulating. When did the 7 angelic trumpet blasts of Revelation begin to sound? That's a riveting question, and one that people have wondered about for 2,000 years. In Revelation, chapters 8, 9, and 11, we read of 7 angels who blew 7 trumpets, heralding plagues of great intensity upon portions of mankind. The first 4 trumpet blasts exposed the spiritually dead state of Christendom's portion of the earth and the sea, as well as the fallen condition of the clergy and of Christendom's spiritual darkness. History shows that the public exposure of these facts actually began before 1922. And that is a historical fact. For example, the lecture, Millions Now Living Will Never May Never Die. Let's move on, brothers. Why then does Revelation Climax book say that these 4 trumpets only started to be blown at the Cedar Point Convention in 1922? Because it was then the call went forth to advertise the king and the kingdom of... Well, there you have it. The mighty trumpet blast from the 7 angels of Revelation referred to a talk at a district convention of Jehovah's Witnesses in Ohio. Religious con artists. False prophets of the investment world have swindled religious Americans out of nearly $500 million in the past 5 years, states the Dallas Morning News, which I subscribe to. The Bible-quoting con artists have victimized over 15,000 Americans in their religiously oriented schemes. Does this fellow with the open book look familiar to you? Sunday morning again, and my puppies are hungry.
Jehovah has given us a spiritual meal. Let's dig in.
Judgment against the man of lawlessness. And here he is. I know my relatives find it refreshing when I tell them I know the truth and they don't. Yeah. Gift from Jehovah for young people. He's a composite man, I guess. Yeah. A lot of mustaches. Your relatives with waters of truth.